What's happening, everybody? It's Scott with the Gaming Outsider. This week, in light of other developers outside of EA's umbrella being given the green light to make Star Wars games, we're sharing what we and our listeners would like to see in future games from one of our favorite franchises. In news, we chat about the upcoming open world game from Ubisoft, a new director for the Last of Us HBO series, and one of Zack's favorite games of 2020 coming to Game Pass. Alyssa also stops by to talk about her experience playing Werewolf Apocalypse Heart of the Forest on Switch. May the podcast be with you, always. This is the Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to episode 329 of The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community. It's Monday, January 18th. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me are my friends coming back from a week off, Zack Parkerson.
Happy to be here.
Yeah? Good to have you back, man. We missed you.
Yeah, I think about you guys every day.
Wow, I'm touched. And also Chris Berensmeyer.
Yeah, I'm here too, I guess.
You're here too, you guess.
Yeah. I could be a figment of your imagination.
What points that you're so confident on are we going to argue with on this week?
I don't know.
Which incorrect positions will you die upon?
I have no idea.
Well, I'm sure you'll come up with something. But before we get into the week's news, let's see what you guys have been catching up on. I know there's not a whole lot of new stuff coming out right now. Zack, you been playing anything interesting?
Right off the bat, man, I just downloaded this today because I found it was on the eShop sale for $3. I bought Cosmic Star Heroine.
Yeah, that's a good game.
It's awesome.
Yeah?
It's so good.
The storytelling's really good. The animation's good. I didn't get too far in it, but I enjoyed what I played so far.
Yeah, I've only played like 2 hours, but Zeboid Games made Cthulhu Saves the World, which was a super funny little indie JRPG back on the 360.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember, they had the idea at Xbox indie games or whatever they were.
Yeah, I remember that.
But they've made comedies before. This one's a little less of a comedy. It's kind of cool. Still funny. But I just like it, man. Very Chrono Trigger combat.
Yes, and a little more complex than Chrono Trigger, if I remember.
Harder than Chrono Trigger.
Yes, for sure.
That's for sure.
Although that game has something I've never seen in a JRPG before, and that is a difficulty setting.
Right, there are 4 difficulties.
Yeah.
Which
never
is
seen that.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. I'm just really, really digging it.
Cool. Anything else?
Out of nowhere. Played Ratchet and Clank a little bit. The reboot one.
Yeah, solid game.
That's very charming.
Mm-hmm.
Way more. I don't like Ratchet and Clank, but I like this game.
I played maybe a third of it, and I always felt like I missed out with that game because I didn't play the originals, so I didn't really understand what I was missing out on. But
as someone who did beat the original game and thought it was fine, this game bears little resemblance to it.
Interesting. I remember it feeling very Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah, it's very, I would say, very animated movie feel, which I guess makes sense because they rebooted it because they came out with the animated movie.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, not very, like, for example, the best part of the first Ratchet and Clank game was that Ratchet and Clank hated each other. And were just constantly dogging on one another till, like, the end of the game when they finally, learned the power of teamwork or whatever.
Oh.
But in this game, they're just, like, bros right off the bat. Not even, like, bros. There's not, like, a lot of camaraderie. They're just kind of
there.
Ratchet just straps Clank onto his back and they get to going.
Huh. I didn't know that about the original game.
It was fun. It was a fun little dynamic.
Interesting.
And then, weirdest of all, I decided to play back through the Batman Begins movie tie-in game on the original Xbox. Yeah, man.
Is that the one where he threatens guys? I want to hear about bears and rabbits.
Yes. How do you know that specific interrogation?
Because I remember they went over it like crazy on X-Play back in the day. They made a crack on it, I remember. And I remember Adam Sessler just going crazy about, they just would play that clip over and over again. I want to know about bears and rabbits. And I have no idea to this day what that reference means.
I mean, it stood out when playing.
I kind of got to play this now.
It's pretty good. And then there's randomly these Batmobile sections that are just straight up Burnout 3.
Oh, really? That sounds cool.
Like they're not even, there's no bones about it. They even do the takedown camera.
Okay. You're kind of selling me. That's like a PS2 era game, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah. I just played back through Arkham Asylum and I was like, let's go even further back into the Batman video game catalog. And it's weird, right? Because the thing that stood out to me is that it's got Michael Caine who's doing a lot of dialogue because he's your voice in your ear.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Christian Bale doing the Batman voice the whole time. Cillian Murphy's there. Like, all the actors are there, right? Because that used to be the norm.
Right.
And it's just weird because nowadays we freak out like, oh my God, Keanu Reeves is in a game. But back then we had Academy Award winner Christian Bale just casually doing a Batman game.
Yeah.
And no one really made any bones about it.
I have never played it. Are you playing it on a PS2 or does that...
Playing on Xbox. OG Xbox.
Original Xbox.
Yeah, it's still kicking. My stick has got a little... My thumbstick's got a little stick to the left, which sucks. But that console's awesome. The creepy voices that play whenever you boot it up. Yeah.
The creepy voices that play.
Like if you let the original Xbox sit on the dashboard, you'll just hear these little electronic whispers go like, it's very creepy.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I don't even think I still have an Xbox.
You can borrow one of mine.
I'm going to have to try that out.
It's so good. I mean, it's a great console, whatever.
That's definitely a random game to pick up and play this week, but I'm intrigued.
Yeah, well, they have the stealth sections have a fear mechanic where your goal is to scare the bad guys enough to drop the gun. So it's almost like a little proto Arkham thing.
That's kind of cool.
It's kind of neat. Not anywhere near as good, but it's still neat.
Cool. CB, what about you, man?
All the games. Played all of them.
Nice of you to have played through the entire catalog of 3 systems, CB.
Well, I finally got to sit down and play Scott Pilgrim.
The beat 'em up.
I missed. Yep, which I missed because it got delisted before I could buy it on the 360.
Is this your first time playing it?
Yeah, it
Whoa.
is.
Okay.
Oh, we should play online together, man.
I actually kind of want to. I was going to ask you that because I know you have it.
Does it have online support, this one? Because the original did
Yes,
not.
it does.
I remember. Okay.
I'm enjoying it.
But...
Yeah. It's fun. I'm really having fun with it. The animation style makes me happy.
Because isn't the animation based on the graphic novel?
Yes.
As opposed to like the films or the film?
Yeah. It's based on the Oni Press graphic novels.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Lee O'Malley.
Yep. And I forgot how many tie-ins from, because I read a good chunk of the graphic novel, and then I saw the movie, and I'm like, oh look, there's some little nods. Like there's more nods in the game to the graphic novel than there is in the movie.
Interesting. I found myself getting frustrated with that game on occasion. I did beat it, but there were some things that frustrated me.
It is not easy.
No, it's a tough brawler.
I'm not a big beat 'em up guy, so I didn't super love it. But I am happy that it's on my PS3, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll probably buy it again, even though I don't. I will not play this game, but I will buy it again, I'm sure. Because I love the movie.
The music is also really good.
The music is good. I do remember that.
Yes.
So, played that. I started diving into Deliver Us the Moon.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm enjoying it.
Really?
So, yeah.
Okay.
I like simple little games like that.
I really wanted to like it.
So did
the controls are a little clunky, but
is that the one that had the Lovecraft undertones? Or am I thinking of a different one? That was
Moons of Madness.
Moons of Madness. Okay, yeah, I'm thinking of a different game.
So I'm playing through that. It's not terrible. It's more or less just achievement chasing.
Oh, there it is.
Other than that, cleaning up some achievements on some other stuff. Finished She Sees Red. I got all the endings for that.
Is it a horror game?
No, it's one of the live action games, like the interactive movies.
Oh, okay.
Like Night Shift.
Yeah, but this one's really weird because apparently it was originally all recorded in Russian.
Mm-hmm.
So the English dub over does not match their mouths.
Oh.
So there's a few times where they're talking, but there's no words, and then all of a sudden words start happening. I'm like, this is bizarre. And it's got a couple interesting twists. I know, wasn't it Alyssa that reviewed that game for us?
It was Thomas, actually. He played it on PC.
Okay.
Because that's the one where you're a cop, a female cop, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So
I played through it. It's not the worst one. It's very short. Like a single playthrough is like 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's really, really short.
I also started diving into the Five Nights at Freddy's series.
I have never played those games.
They are very good with the jump scares.
Yeah?
I give them credit.
Okay. Did it get you?
It's got me a couple times. So I'm really surprised. I started with 1. I've got a good chunk of the way through 1, and I've already got 2, 3, and 4 downloaded.
Did you see, speaking of Five Nights at Freddy's, did you see the trailer for that movie Willy's Wonderland with Nick Cage?
No.
Yeah.
Dude.
How mad are the Five Nights at Freddy movie people?
Right? That they didn't think of that?
CB, it is just the plot of Five Nights at Freddy starring Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Deal. I'm in. I want to watch it.
But
right
it
now.
looks so ridiculous and over the top, and
because like the trailer would suggest that Nicolas Cage knew full well going in that he was going to kill these animatronic robots, because everyone's like warning him against it, and he's just like silent about it and just murders the hell out of them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like that's even more ridiculous.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know if he's completely mute, but they say in the trailer, like, a man of few words. Like, he never says a word in the entire trailer, does he?
I don't think so.
And it looks great.
When is this supposed to come out?
February. It's a video on demand.
Deal. I'm there.
I know Brian Regals was talking on the Facebook group that he wanted to do like a watch party, and I'll watch it together, which I think sounds like a fantastic idea.
We could do that.
But for real, if you're the Five Nights at Freddy movie team, how much are you kicking yourself that you let this thing sit in development hell for so long, knowing full well you could have gotten Nicolas Cage the whole time?
I don't think that the Five Nights at Freddy's movie is going to be as visceral as this movie is.
I bet it would have been. If this movie's a hit, I bet it'll be. Definitely.
Do you know how big the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise is with young kids?
I am aware, yes.
I mean, it's like I can't tell you how many backpacks at school have Five Nights at Freddy's on it. And they make a movie that's violent and gruesome and gory. There's going to be a lot of PO'd parents.
I don't care about them.
I know you don't, but the studios do.
I
don't think an R rating's ever stopped a kid from watching a movie.
I'm with you, but it has stopped parents from being happy about it.
True.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
I've also taken a deep dive into the Oculus Quest 2.
Oh yes, how's that? What'd you get?
So glorious.
So much better than the one?
There is notable differences.
Okay, because I had heard otherwise.
I will fight tooth and nail. There is a wider range of vision. The refresh time is better. The lenses are better. I will say the build quality on the one is far superior.
Okay.
Try to get that price down.
Yeah, it's very plasticky. I ordered some parts to mod mine.
Could have just 3D printed them.
No, some of these parts you can't. The Elite head strap. Is like, it's similar to the head strap that's on the one.
All right.
Where it like cups your head better, because right now it's literally just a Velcro band.
Oh, okay.
But I got the Elite strap with a battery pack. So I'll have a longer battery life. So I give them that. Like, it's definitely a thing that needs to be addressed.
Have you played Half-Life Alyx yet?
No.
Why
not? So there's issues. I'm working on resolving that tomorrow. I did get a link cable.
All right.
There's issues with them. There is severe PC lag using a link cable. Apparently, I've talked to some people afterwards. They're like, you should have just saved your money and bought virtual desktop and done it over Wi-Fi.
Oh. I've never heard a game having so much frustration getting people to play it, and they wonder why that game underperformed.
Yes. Because I desperately want to play it because it looks really good. The people that I have talked to that have played it on a Quest 2 say it plays great. Just don't use a link cable. Because I downloaded a couple cheap Steam VR games and tried the link cable, and it chugs so hard trying to play these games.
Well, that's a bummer.
Yes. So I'm trying. I'm going to try virtual desktop tomorrow, which I hear performs much, much better.
Have you played anything new on it? Or are you just going through and rehashing the stuff you had on the Quest 1?
I played a bunch of Pistol Whip, which is really, really good. on Quest 2, it everything seems a lot crisper playing.
Snappier.
Played some Super Hot, and then I finally started diving into the Star Wars Tales game, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, tell me more. Yeah.
What is it? I don't even know what that game is.
It's a first-person adventure game, like going around, traveling around Batu.
Sure, you gotta pimp the theme park.
Yeah, you're a droid mechanic, and you're just trying to find a shipment that you lost in the beginning, and you're going up against the pirates from Force Awakens that Han runs into.
Okay.
Kanji Clan?
Kanji Club.
Kanji Club.
Not them, the other ones.
Oh,
I can't remember the name of the other one.
I've seen that movie a lot of times.
The other name wasn't as fun.
No, it wasn't. But it has definitely been a lot of fun so far. One of your weapons is the training droid that Luke used in A New Hope.
Drone?
Yep.
That's a weapon?
So you can throw a bunch of them out, and they will start shooting at enemies.
It's like a little turret.
Yep, and then they have shield ones that do the same thing, but it's a shield.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
I'm having a lot of fun with it. I will hopefully have more information on it next week when I finish playing it.
I just want to hear about Half-Life Alyx. That's actually, you know what? I want to play Half-Life Alyx, so please let me know when I can come over and do that, because
I'm trying. I'm really trying, because I need more Half-Life in my life.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Quest, I dabbled a little bit this week because, as we mentioned last week, Chris sold me his. So I've got the Quest 1 that he needed to sell so that he could purchase the Quest 2. And I had the most fun with this thing, not even playing it myself. I took this thing to school, and no, I didn't let the kids play it, but I took this thing to school, and I asked my boss if she'd be willing, the principal of our school, if she'd be willing to do, like, as a reward for my students for finishing the week's work or whatever, to watch her play virtual reality in front of the class on camera, just to see her reaction, because she's never played it before. So the first game I gave her was Richie's Plank Experience, which, if you're not familiar, I don't even know if you would call it a game. It's literally you standing on top of a skyscraper on a piece of wood that is sticking out over the skyscraper, and just walk out and see if you can do it. And
you put your student through this?
No, my principal.
Oh, his boss.
My boss.
You put your boss through this?
My boss did this, and the best part is that she has a VR helmet on, and because there are speakers embedded into the headset, she couldn't hear what I was doing around her. Because what they do is, like, when you step on the board, they actually make a creaking noise to make it sound like it's breaking or snapping. The idea is to make you jump and flinch and fall off. By the way, I got a severe sense of vertigo when I tried it. It's legit, man. It feels like you were up on top of a skyscraper, especially because they put you in an elevator, and you can see just through the crack that you're going higher and higher and higher, so you really have that sense of height. Anyway, so the best part was, and I have this whole thing on video, I can share it with you. I waited until she was in there and she had the sound going, and I have a couch in my classroom, and I pushed it around up so that it was next to her. And I waited until she got really freaked out, and I did a selfie video, and I pushed her over onto the couch. So she fell on the couch, and she didn't know I was going to do that, and she screamed, and it was hilarious. It was a really good time. I did the same thing for one of my coworkers that teaches 4th grade. He actually brought his class in. He has in-person students. Like, there's like 7 of them. And he brought them into the classroom and watched him do the same experience, and I did the same thing. I pushed him over, and he freaked out even more, which was a ton of fun to see. So
you should have had a Google. You should have used the Google Chromecast so the students could actually see what he was seeing.
I couldn't. The problem with doing that is I don't have an HDMI anything in my classroom. It's all USB. So I thought about, like, trying to cast it to Facebook, but then students don't have Facebook, and I don't want to get into that mess. So I didn't really know what else to do. So I just had them watch in the meantime. But I'll try to figure something out, because that would be super fun to do. She played a little Beat Saber as well, which she really enjoyed. But the first time when the stuff came at her, she actually, like, freaked out a little bit. I'm telling you, man, VR is one of those things that people that haven't played it before and naysay it, it's something that you don't really understand until you were inside that helmet. And my boss said the exact same thing. She and my fourth grade coworker both immediately wanted one. I feel like I may have sold 2 Oculuses.
Yes.
At this thing. So I don't know, man. VR is it's legit. It's pretty cool. Played a little Pistol Whip as well, like you mentioned. I got to figure out the calibration though. I can't get the aiming. It defaults on that game. It defaults to the gun being in my left hand, which I hate. I want the gun in my right hand, and I can't figure out how to do that. Outside of that, I've been making some headway in Celeste. If you remember last week, I talked about I'm on a mission to go through and get all the strawberries and everything, and I've got all the strawberries on level 3 now of 8.
I wasn't here last week, but that also seems like a random ass game to play.
I listen to the soundtrack all the time, like when I'm actually writing or trying to get work done, because there's no lyrics for me to focus on, and it's very relaxing music. And I just get the bug to play it every once in a while. I love that game so much, and started playing it just for fun and said, you know what? I'm going to try to 100% this game. And those B-side levels, man, are no freaking joke.
Yeah, I remember I played some of them.
They're tough. But the one I really wanted to talk to you guys about, and this is another totally random game. I didn't even tell you guys about this today on text message, but I came across a random steal of the day, if you will, thanks to a pricing error on Walmart's website. They were having up. Remember the game Captain Toad Treasure Tracker?
Yeah.
Originally released on Wii U.
A game I very much want to play.
And they ported it to Switch. And Walmart was selling the DLC for the game, which is just some bonus levels. They were selling them for like $4. But it was announced, or some people caught on, that they made a mistake, and not only were you getting the DLC, but you were also getting the full base game. So for $4.56, I got Captain Toad Treasure Tracker and the DLC that came with it.
How dare you not buy me a copy? How dare you?
I didn't think mine was going through. I purchased it, and it said it was back ordered. I got an email saying it was back ordered, and until it went out of stock, I finally got an email that said, here's your code, and it worked. And I
it's nice that they didn't. Yeah, it's nice that they follow through on it, I guess.
Yeah. So it was. I mean, they didn't. They, like you said, they could have pulled a Best Buy and not. But yeah, $4.50 is a fantastic price for that game. And I mean, it's no Mario, but it is so charming.
It's more puzzle oriented, right?
Yeah, there's no jumping. It's more or less trying to find. You're just trying to get through finding points on a map, but it's all 3D, so you can spin it around and try to look for secret ways to get there. It's very charming. I'm going to play it a lot more. It's a very relaxing Zen experience for me. So enjoy.
What a great game for the Switch, it seems.
Yeah, I know we say that a lot.
No, it's definitely
the Switch.
It's as much of a what's the cliche as saying it's the Dark Souls of.
Right, exactly.
But the short little levels seem great for it.
Yeah, but it's great and it's fun. Like, it's not overly challenging. It's more of a challenge to figure out the right path. It's not like a dexterity thing. It's always like, what order am I going to go around to do this? What can I not do that's going to or what if I do this, it's going to prevent me from getting to this area, so I have to do it in a different order. It's just all about, process, executive functioning skills, as we say in the education industry. So,
isn't January great with no games coming out?
Yeah, I could just kind of play games for fun.
You can just play what you want.
Yeah.
What a novel concept.
Celeste has been so much fun to play. Although I was super tired and cranky. I think it was Friday night. And Celeste is not a good game to play when you're tired and cranky. Let me tell you that. So
no.
Well, speaking of games, we have another community game night coming up on Saturday, January 30th. It will be at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. All 3 of us will be in attendance. We kind of coordinated this so that we all 3 can play. We have no idea what we're going to play yet, for sure. But we are going to all meet up on Discord. If you haven't already, join the Discord community. The link can be found in the show notes for this episode. And we'll be meeting in one of the chat rooms there. And then once we're there, we're going to split up into groups and play whatever everybody wants to play. I'm having a hankering for Borderlands. There's always Fall Guys. There's always Killer Queen Black should be on Xbox at that point. What else? What are some of the other ones we were talking about playing? Among Us.
Yeah.
I always play Among Us. I feel like we didn't play enough Among Us. I play it more with my students than I have with the community, but mark your calendars. We would really love to have you there. It will be an awesome, awesome time. And I might have a pretty cool giveaway as well. Pretty quality AAA game to give away. So stay tuned for that. 7 o'clock Central Standard Time on Saturday, January 30th. It would be so much fun to hang out with everybody and play some games together. With that, let's go ahead now and jump into the week's news. So new trailers that dropped this week. We got a trailer for Squadron 51, which I kind of thought CB would be all over. I know he loves his shmups, but man, that trailer looks really clever. It just
After watching it more, yeah, I'm all about that game.
it's such a weird, campy, I don't know, 1950s style, aliens and monsters but you're fighting in biplanes. I don't know. It looks really cool. And then we got the cinematic trailer for Hitman 3 as well. Also, we learned Ubisoft is making an open world Star Wars game. Hades is coming to Game Pass, and The Last of Us HBO series lands a new director. And finally, CD Projekt Red apologizes for the poor quality of Cyberpunk 2077 on consoles. Where would you guys like to start?
You buried the biggest story.
I buried the biggest story?
That an Indiana Jones game is coming?
Well, it's in there.
That's, but that's way more exciting than Ubisoft making an open world Star Wars game.
I'm actually with you.
I may fight you on that one. Because...
Well, no, of course.
No. Here's the best part of this whole story is that one of Zack's predictions last year was that there was going to be an open world Star Wars game, and not 5 days after the new year comes out.
And the prediction is specifically just said announced too, so it would have been a lock. That's very
yeah. You would have got your 1 point.
Yeah. But hey, Indiana Jones from Machine Games.
Yeah, that did. No, is that the people that did Division? No.
Wolfenstein. They did Wolfenstein The New Order and Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus.
Mm-hmm.
Which those games are brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little. So the storytelling is a lock. Their level design was a little weak in the sequel, so I'm kind of wary. But my initial reaction was a first-person studio on Indiana Jones, but then, of course, Respawn is a first-person developer, and they made Fallen Order.
Mm-hmm.
So we can probably
assume it's going to be third person.
Well, it would be kind of dumb to make an Uncharted / Tomb Raider style game in first person, I would think.
I would think so too. Do you think they're going to get Harrison Ford to voice it?
No, and I don't think you should try.
I don't know about that. Because he did make that comment like on social media this week that he said Indiana Jones will die with him.
Sure, but
the whole Chris Pratt thing. So it's not like he has a whole lot of other things on his plate right now.
But there have been many Indiana Jones games, and Harrison Ford's never been there. Nor does he do Han Solo. There's a whole cottage industry of people who do good Harrison Ford impressions. I would say you hire one of them, because especially with the way the video game industry is obsessed with performance capture.
Mm-hmm.
Like they didn't even give the original Kratos voice actor a shot because they didn't think he could do the performance. So I'm pretty sure you're going to get a new Indiana Jones actor, and I don't envy that person in today's social media age, because when you make Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb in 2003, nobody cared who the voice was, but in the Twitter-filled world of 2021, it's all anyone's going to talk about.
Right.
I do know that Mark Hamill actually does a really good Harrison Ford impersonation.
He does, yeah.
So that would be kind of funny. Mark Hamill playing Indiana Jones,
dude, that
but as
alone
Harrison Ford
would sell a copy.
Yeah, that casting news would be probably met with applause.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Here's the thing with Harrison Ford. I don't think he gives a crap. There wasn't there like recently an interview where someone asked him a Star Wars related question. I don't even remember what it was. Something about the science of Star Wars, and his response was, "I don't know, and I don't care."
They asked in his final scene in episode 9 if it was a Force ghost,
He's like, what's a
And
force ghost?
He said, I don't know what an effing force ghost is, and I don't care. Which I really appreciate.
I think he's so burned out on Star Wars to go back to a character that everybody knows he loves.
Right.
Would be, and he's getting old, man. The fact that he could just sit there and just do voiceover.
Tell you what, it would be cool, but I'm in no way expecting it.
Right.
I'm not either, but I really want it to happen.
That would be a megaton announcement, though, if it were.
Correct.
What do you want from a game like that? They said it's going to be a new adventure, so it's not going to be like a rehash of Raiders or Temple of Doom or Last Crusade or anything like that. What do you think they're going to do?
I want more of the old school indie where it was chasing religious artifacts instead of stupid crystal skulls.
Yes.
I think a Christian religious artifact is a must for your first Indiana Jones game. I don't think there's any question. Huh?
What's left?
Besides the Holy Grail and the Spear of Destiny, I guess. But
Didn't they already did that?
Did they do that in a game?
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't have to care about that. But I just want a random post, pre-Raiders indie on an adventure or something like that. I don't really need it to be. I don't really need something sophisticated. I would prefer a more Rise of the Tomb Raider style open map than an Uncharted linear game, probably. Because I just think it'd be cool to dig out artifacts as indie. I mean, come on, that'd be incredible.
Using your whip to
swing around the environment. How cool would that be?
Here you go, Noah's Ark.
You should find the whole ark. That'd be cool, yeah.
Because where it's supposedly hidden, like the one mountain where it's actually like buried, supposedly, you could create some really fun, like traversal areas with that.
Yeah, tombs, if you will.
Whoa, what do you say here?
Or let him break into the U.S. government facility where they hid everything.
Yeah, the Declaration of Independence.
All of a sudden, Nicolas Cage rolls out.
Wouldn't that be great? You know what I would really, really enjoy? Short Round.
Yes.
Oh, well, because was Temple of Doom before the events of Raiders or after the events of Raiders?
It is before Raiders.
So you could have Short Round in there.
Yeah. In my setting.
Could you get away with Short Round in today's...
His name's not offensive.
Just a portrayal.
He's like a small, somewhat plump kid. Yeah, I guess they would probably modernize him. He'd probably be transgender or something.
I'm actually more excited by the amount of Easter eggs they could hide in that game.
Oh yeah, from all 4 movies, really.
Well, not only that, but the fact that like Club Obi-Wan from Temple of Doom, like all the other things that they could hide in that universe.
It's a shame.
I did not remember that was the thing.
Video games don't have that kind of nonsense fun because in the past Indiana Jones games you could always unlock Han Solo as a character to play as. There's no way they're going to do that in the modern age.
Yeah, back in like the PS2 era, you could do that like crazy.
They didn't care, but now everything's got to be sacred.
Yeah. Well, what about the Star Wars open world game? Now that you finally got your wish come true or your prediction.
Go you go ahead and start.
Okay, well. First of all, I think you can guarantee this game's not coming out until 2023 at the earliest, right? Because that's when the exclusivity technically ends with EA,
right?
And Massive already has. I didn't even remember this until this news came out. They already have that Avatar open world game in development first.
Avatar as in The Last Airbender,
as in Avatar, James Cameron.
James Cameron, okay.
So this game is probably a ways off. However. I'm tentatively excited. I'm of the 3 of us, I think I'm the only one who doesn't like Ubisoft's open world games. However, I did very much enjoy what I played of The Division 2. And I only stopped playing when the game was like, well, go do all the side stuff to level up. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna. Nope, not gonna checklist. But if I had a blaster, I would do it.
Right. So, the setting is what would make you do that.
Yeah, and I think it would play to the developer's strength and to the market's strength because there's a good opening for, say, an open world bounty hunter game.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the no-brainer out, especially with the world's going to be even more obsessed with the Mandalorian by 2023 or 24.
Right.
So it only makes it get that money.
True. I'm more or less curious over the fact that where does that Avatar game stand at the moment?
Right.
Because I'm almost wondering if they don't scrap that and use a lot of the stuff and go forward with using it for other things.
No, they're gonna coincide it with the movie release.
Yeah, it'll come out in December.
If and when those movies ever come out. I'm super excited because I know I've talked about it with Scott before, but Ubisoft is the people that I wanted to make an open world Star Wars game.
Mm-hmm.
So the moment they announced this, like I was super giddy.
Which is the inverse of my open world Star Wars. Yes, Ubisoft. No, that was my reaction.
I mean, there are other companies we'll talk about in a bit that I would like to have seen make a game. So we'll get to that a little later.
I don't know. I'm just excited that more Star Wars is happening in general. And again, we're getting ahead of our topic of the week here, but it just feels like it's been a long time since we've had a bunch of Star Wars games. I know we had Fallen Order, excuse me, and we had Squadrons, which I'm such a hypocrite. I still haven't played any more of that game that I've been begging for years. But I just like the idea of there being more of this, and this is a good place to start, I think. I know that you said you like Division 2, and you'd be more apt to play it if you had a blaster by your side, even though it's so uncivilized. Let's bring it. Bring more.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, a like an open world bounty hunter game where you can play co-op as a team of bounty hunters. That sounds like $1 billion idea.
Seriously, I mean, you could. You're dipping your toe into MMO territory at that point too. Just a world full of bounty hunters that you can customize and make yourself and do missions together, or do them on your own and take out other bounty hunters to, get their bounty. I mean,
the only hurdle I see is the weird, how stringent the Star Wars story group is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it'd be hard to do. Like, for example, say loot seems very difficult to do with the Star Wars story group that wouldn't even let the characters be different shades of colors in the multiplayer game Battlefront 2 because they take the lore so seriously.
Right.
So
Have
it seems
some fun with it, please.
Yeah. I'm wondering if the launch day for this is going to be the day after the EA thing runs up.
That would be funny.
We'd probably have to know beforehand, but
you could.
It should just launch whatever the week of the Mandalorian finale is.
That would make sense. That's done. Okay, now you can go play the game.
Right. Makes insane money.
So, EB, what about you? What story stood out?
I'm still in Team CD Projekt Red world. So,
oh man,
let's fight again.
Yes, they released their apology. I did actually play this on my Xbox One X. My original Xbox is actually dead.
All right,
it is dead. On my One X, played just fine.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that they did release a statement.
No. I want to hear how it was on your Xbox One X.
It was fine. It played fine.
Okay.
I didn't have any issues. So
none at all?
No. I had no issues.
Man. All right.
So
Sean, who reviewed the game for us, his review released today, he played it on a base Xbox One, and he said he had some issues, but it was far from game breaking.
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, there are issues. I didn't run into any. I put a few hours in. It wasn't terrible. Like it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wasn't as crisp and fast loading as it was on the Series S.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm using a last gen console, so I'm not surprised by that.
Right.
It's funny, like you get your experience or Sean's experience, and then you see footage of a base PS4 online where they look in one direction, they spin, and you can see the traffic loading in.
Right, like popping
as they look in a direction. So it's just weird that it's such wildly different experiences.
Well, I've also been noticing on some of the videos where you see people playing that, and you hear their PS4 like their base model PS4, and it sounds horrendous.
Right.
I'm wondering, like, how dusty is the internal on that? Like, when was the last time you cleaned it out?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I remember God of War had a bunch of problems with base PS4 burning the fans loud too.
Right. Well,
regardless,
here's the quote.
Can we at least you should read the quote. Yes, you're correct.
The quote says, this came from the co-founder of the company. His name is it Marcin Iwinski? He says, "You've trusted us and pre-ordered our game. Despite good reviews on PC, the console version of Cyberpunk 2077 did not meet the quality standards we wanted it to meet. I and the entire leadership team are deeply sorry for this." They also said that the first patch, or patch 1.1, is due this week as of this recording, and the free DLC is still coming this year, and then the next-gen versions of the game will be coming in the second half of 2021, which seems like a long ways away, but I guess the question is, are we still going to be talking about it by then? Because the difference that I got from hearing CB talk about it and reading Sean's review is that that Cyberpunk 2077 is not on the scale of The Witcher 3 in terms of size. It's not going to take you 150 hours to do everything in this game. So are people going to be done with this game by the time the really good version on the next console comes out, or what?
I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of people that are going to wait to pick it up, which I know you can pick up the game for like $30 now.
Yeah.
But which gets you the next gen game as well.
Yeah. Like, pick it up. Like,
because you know when this thing comes out, like the Xbox Series X version or the PS5 version, it's going to be $60 again.
Yeah.
So why not just get the $30 version now, and then you're good for the new? I don't know.
I do know that they've been releasing some content, like they unlocked the different endings, which I was talking with Nate, our producer, before we started playing. Like he finished one of the endings. I'm working towards one of them. I'm still loving playing this game. I'm still enjoying it. So I want more people to experience. Like I know we beat people over the head with Control all the time. Like.
Which apparently a lot of people don't like. I was shocked by the number of people that were complaining about that game on Facebook this week.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, Dustin Ridling was having some issues with some bosses.
Right, but then there was a slew of people that were like, yeah, I enjoyed the setup and everything, but the game just got so frustrating and the controls were really bad. And I was like, I had no idea. I had never heard anything negative about that game. I thought that was interesting.
Shows our little, gamer bubble that we're trapped in, I guess.
Yeah, apparently.
You would think everybody hates Cyberpunk as well, but it's sold 13 million plus copies, so that's not true. Right. I just want to say this: the apology is half-assed and silly, and it's that's it. That's a really terrible thing to say a month out. But you know what?
Late.
It doesn't matter because gamers have no memory at all, so it really doesn't matter.
Did Square ever apologize for how bad Avengers was?
I think they want you to forget about it. I'm not here to defend Square Enix. They were terrible too. They lost $65 million for it, though. At least they got some kind of comeuppance.
But also, that game wasn't busted, right? Like, it didn't have issues. It just wasn't what everybody wanted it to be.
Yeah, it just was boring.
Wow.
It didn't get recalled from retail shelves.
Right.
True.
Well, I want to talk about, just briefly, this new director for the Last of Us HBO series, because I am very excited. The fact that a video game property is coming to HBO tells me that the quality has a very good chance of being high. But if you remember, the previous director was going to be Johan Renck, who directed Chernobyl, which everybody loved. For some unknown reason, or at least a reason I can't find, he's been pulled from the project, and the new director is a guy by the name of Kantemir Balagov, who directed the 2019 film Beanpole, which I know nothing about, but it did give him some notoriety at the Cannes Film Festival. How optimistic are you guys feeling about this series?
Less now.
Yeah, I would agree less, just because the Chernobyl director, even before Last of Us was announced, would refer to video games as inspiration. So, he seemed like a guy who really cared. I don't know anything about this other director.
I don't either.
So definitely, less assured of its quality, but
just the Chernobyl was so good.
I have not seen it yet.
I have not finished it. I started it, and I don't speak Russian, so I have to watch it subtitled. And when I watch TV shows, it's usually right before I'm going to sleep. And when I have to read subtitles, it makes me fall asleep quicker, which is maybe a good thing, but it's really difficult to remember where you left off when you have to rely on the subtitles.
Is the show not in English? I thought the trailer's in English, right?
There's a lot in English, but there's a lot of like side conversation that's in Russian.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I still enjoyed it. The difference between me and Scott is I'm so used to subtitles.
That's right,
because of my wife.
Right.
With her being deaf, like I'll catch myself every now and then, like the sound is completely off. I don't even notice. And I'm just reading subtitles. I turn on subtitles for all my games now.
Right.
Because she'll sit there and watch and read subtitles, and she's like, "Oh, that's kind of interesting." I'm actually kind of surprised. Like she's starting to turn the corner.
Oh, getting excited!
Like watching me play games and making comments on it. I'm like, for somebody who has been so adamantly hates video games, I caught her watching like me play Cyberpunk, and she's like, "This is actually pretty interesting."
That's good to hear, man. Also, Zach, one of your favorites from last year, Hades, is coming to Game Pass, so more people will get a chance to play that. I was surprised by that news.
Game Pass continues to be an exponential bang for the buck.
Yeah, I'll give it another shot on Game Pass if I can.
I'm gonna play it.
That's right, because you didn't play it on Switch. Yeah.
Nope. Now I can play it and get achievements.
Exactly. We're also losing some games on Game Pass. Indivisible, which is one I kind of regret not trying. It looked really interesting. Also something called Sea Salts, Final Fantasy 15 Royal Edition, and Fishing Sim World Pro Tour. I'm really bummed about that one leaving Game Pass. And then either Gris or Gree. I don't know how to pronounce that game, but I believe Christina reviewed that one for us back in the day.
Yeah, that's true.
So, that's about it for news this week. Let's go ahead and move on. Just as a reminder, we are an independently funded podcast, which means we do pay for our podcasting host services, website, everything on our own. And the way we try to help pay for that is through Patreon. And that's where fans can contribute money to help offset the costs of productions, as well as give back to the community. And if you'd like to help us out, you can do so at patreon.com/thegocast. $1 a month gives you the episode a day early. $3 a month will give you that in addition to a bonus episode, and $5 a month will give you both of those as well as 2 bonus episodes. So we got different tiers available for you. CB, what's currently available for those members?
Well, our retro outsider look at Captain N the Game Master. Which
seriously, a fun episode. We had a lot of fun recording that one.
Still love it, man. I will still defend that show. And Spencer's Community Top 10 Games of 2020 episode.
And we've been rolling around some ideas for what we're going to do in January. We need to get those ironed out here pretty quick. Some pretty interesting ones. And CB's been picking up a lot of garbage games that he claims I have to play for games that aren't for us. But we'll see how that goes. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about some of the new releases that we've been playing in our segment we call What We've Been Playing. Zach, what new games are coming out this week? Anything?
Well, like I said, the big one, Hitman 3, coming to PS5, PS4, Series X and S, Xbox One, Switch PC, and believe it or not, Google Stadia.
Nice.
Coming at January 20th. That's IO Interactive is self-publishing that. So that's pretty cool. And then Ride 4 gets its PS5 and Series X and S versions on January 21st. That's about it.
Yeah, I'm going to be going back to backlog this week.
Yep, I'm still going to be diving through that.
I'm intrigued by Hitman 3. I enjoyed that first one, but I skipped the second, so I don't really know. Do I jump into the third? I feel like these are coming out fast.
Spoiler alert, he kills some guys.
There's a story, Scott.
I know, I'm being obtuse.
What's going on with Diana, his handler, for instance?
See, I don't even know what that means.
Yep, lost.
I tried a Hitman game on PC, and I was so bored. Like, it was original, like OG one, so I can't like complain too much. But like the concept, I just did not dig the execution. But I've also not played the new ones, and I hear that these episodic formulas actually work for that game quite well. So I should give it a chance. But
my actual hesitation for getting Hitman 2 was that it was not episodic.
Oh, really?
Because I thought the episodic format worked so well for the first one.
All right. I just feel like if I'm going to jump in, I'm going to start with one. And I just don't have a whole lot of gumption to do that right now. So
even though there's no story, as you say.
I'm not saying there's no story. I was more or less joking. I wasn't being serious. I know there's got to be a story in it, but I don't know anything about it.
I gotcha.
Anyway, CB, you've been playing I don't know if you call it a new game. It's new to Xbox. Called The Child Sight. And man, this game gave me some vibes of a game that you and I played on Xbox a couple years ago, where you played a baby. I cannot remember the name of it to save my life.
Wow, I'm trying to think.
You know what I'm talking about, though? Like, you start in a crib and you go around. But anyway, talk about The Child Sight. This looks more like it's got a horror vibe.
It's a Five Nights at Freddy clone.
Oh, is it?
Which apparently is your new genre of choice.
I like horror, so I'm trying something different because I've tried to stay away from those games for as long as I can. But this one's kind of weird because instead of being stuck in a pizza parlor being attacked by animatronic things, you're a child stuck in a crib.
And stuff just comes at you and that's it?
Well, it's from it's supposed to be from a child's perspective. So like if you're not So how it works is each night you're trying to fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
And so you actually like have to lay down and like close your eyes and like hold down the button to try and fall asleep. But you hear noises around you that wake you up.
Uh-huh.
And like you're afraid of things. So far I'm on night 3, and each night they introduce something new. So the first night you just have like this little carousel, like a kid's nightlight that plays music and turns. Yeah. And then there's also a light that you can turn on and off next to your bed. So like when you hear noises, like you can turn the light on to like scare away whatever it is. But if you leave the light on too long, the bulb blows out.
Oh, okay.
And whatever monsters are in the dark come and get you. Then the second night, like they introduce this thing called Mr. Deer.
So, no, wait a minute. So the whole first level, your only mechanic is to turn a light on and off?
You can turn a light on and off. You have to keep the carousel running. So it'll only run for like a minute and a half, like a minute to a minute and a half. I haven't timed it, but then you have to like turn it back on. Like you actually have to like stop, like break your sleep hold and like turn it back on, because
why
if it
do you
goes
have to keep
off,
the carousel spinning? I don't understand.
It's again, this is supposed to be from a child's perspective. Like you're trying to scare away whatever's out in the dark, because you can't see everything in the room. There's a lot of dark spots.
This actually sounds like a cool hook to me.
It is very interesting. Like that's what kind of led me into this, and I started playing this, and I'm like, oh man, I'm actually kind of enjoying this type of game, and that's why I downloaded the Five Nights at Freddy's games.
Huh.
But
do you like this better than the Five Nights at Freddy's games?
Yes.
Okay.
I kind of do, because there's a little bit more movement. Because with the Five Nights at Freddy's games, like you are just stuck in a chair. You can look left, right, and like click buttons around you. This, like, you actually have you can turn all the way around, or you try to like cover your eyes. One of the other things you get is called Mr. Deer, which is this toy that it looks like a little deer, and you can hold it and turn away and face the wall, but you can see the reflections of everything behind you in the deer's eyes.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So I'm having fun with it. It is hard. It is really hard. But I love games that have good horror themes and elements. The jump scares are there, but there's such a creepy vibe, because you're this tiny like child and you have no real way to defend yourself from what's out there. So It's just interesting. If anybody's a fan of the Five Nights at Freddy style games, I would recommend trying this out. It's only like $4.99.
It looks a little bit more adult oriented.
Yes.
In terms of like the scares seem genuinely off-putting as opposed to just, jump scare animatronics coming to life kind of thing.
Five Nights at Freddy's never looked
that.
childish to me, but it is a child audience. It's very weird. It's like Goosebumps, I guess.
It's one of those things that just catches on and spreads like wildfire among kids, and they're all talking about it. It's like, it's a trend.
That tiny little developer,
I think
all own mansions now.
Mm-hmm. I think the reason why it got its hooks into kids so much is because of the theme. Because a lot of kids can be like, "Oh, I've been to Chuck E. Cheese. This is similar."
Right.
Well, plus like things are a lot different with kids than they were when we were kids. Like at least in my memory, when I was a kid, nobody liked hot food or anything spicy. Every kid was afraid of it. You never wanted to eat anything hot. And now like hot Cheetos and Takis are like all the kids want to eat. You know what I mean? And now they're afraid of bees. Like bees are like a death sentence in a fourth grade classroom. They all freak out about bees. Bees were never like an issue when I was a kid.
Weird.
It's things like that are so different. And this is another thing. Like when I was a kid, I did not like scary things, and none of my friends liked scary things. It was always something that the teenagers or adults did. And now it's cool to be scared, or if you can withstand the fear kind of thing.
The spicy food is actually, I'm going to like look into that. That's very interesting to me because spicy foods for so long was a low income household sort of snack and food because, like pork rinds were dirt cheap, but they put spice on them so it had some flavor. Like there's genuinely interesting cultural and economic history behind spicy food. Like that would be very interesting to look into. I didn't realize kids were into this.
I mean, I do teach in a Title I district, so there could be some truth to that. And I grew up in a white bread slice of heaven, so.
Yeah. That's because you are a white bread slice of heaven.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, my God. I will say I was the complete opposite of you growing up, Scott. Like, I was obsessed with horror.
Well, but you're also, I feel like you're an outlier, because you're a very unique individual, CB.
I am. I mean, I think the first time I watched The Exorcist was when I was like 6.
Jeez.
Yeah. That's good.
So,
Mommy, what is that girl doing with that crucifix?
I didn't know, but it was scary. I've always loved horror. So I guess this is the one horror genre I haven't really delved into very far.
All right. Well, that again is The Child's Sight. You definitely piqued Zach's interest, so we'll see if he checks that one out. You also played a game called Twin Mirror, which I watched the trailer and I got some Quantic Dreams vibes a little bit.
It's the Don't Nod people.
Okay, so that's why.
Yep. This is their new game that kind of follows into the Life is Strange, Adventures of Captain Spirit, and oh god, what was the other one?
Tell us why. Tell me why.
Tell me why.
Tell me why.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
It's possible. Wait, quick. I'm sorry. Is this in the same universe as Life is Strange, like Captain Spirit was?
I don't know yet, but this to me feels more like the first Life is Strange,
okay,
than the other ones because they're going back into like there's something supernatural going on, but you have to kind of unravel it.
Yeah, the trailer looked very compelling.
I know the main character, his ability is he can use like the Crystal Palace, if you're familiar with what that is.
Mm-mm.
The ability to memorize everything but like store it inside like a Crystal Palace in your head.
Oh, okay.
So if you've ever read like Hannibal or The Silence of the Lambs, like Dr. Lecter has the same thing. But basically you build out your memory so you can memorize everything perfectly by placing it inside this like palace in your head. But you are brought back to the town you grew up in because your friend died, and as you first get there, you run into his daughter, and something seems like it seems like he shouldn't be dead. Like something happened that caused his death, and you're trying to unravel what happened because you are also an investigative reporter.
Convenient.
So now that I'm playing this, it actually makes me want to like go and play Alan Wake.
That's interesting. Again, you just got Zack perked up, but
well, it's because you're going around a town trying to unravel a mystery, and I know you guys keep telling me that I need to play Alan Wake, so I actually downloaded that.
Yeah, I feel like
as I was playing this
with like Alan Wake. Is this Game Pass, Twin Mirror?
No,
it
was $30.
Which is funny that we like think of that as a ridiculous price now because Game Pass and Switch sales have ruined us.
Yes, it really has. This game looks really good. Like,
I was going to say the animations remind me, and this is going to be a weird pull, but do you remember like in the Assassin's Creed games when you would get those pieces of the Apple of Eden, and it would slowly put together the frames of some animation, and it was always like a man and a woman running.
Yeah,
and you get a little bit more of it. This trailer reminded me of the animations of that.
Man, remember back when Assassin's Creed was good?
Shut up! It still is. But yeah, it has the very same as like Life is Strange, where decisions affect what's going on. But so far, I haven't run into like, you remember when you finished an episode in Life is Strange, and it was like, oh, X number of people chose this, and X number of people chose this, or you would hit that point where it's like you chose one of the two pathways. I haven't run across one of those yet.
So this isn't episodic?
Not that I've found yet, and I've put a couple hours into this game, but when you boot up like Life is Strange and tell me why, it's like choose your chapter. This didn't have that.
Interesting.
Well, look at them branching out.
Yeah, so I feel that they're moving away from the episode style, which I'm really enjoying. There's a lot of wonderful character interaction. I don't want to ruin too much of the story because so much happens in the first hour,
right? That
is building the story, but the storytelling is wonderful.
All right.
It feels, like I said, it feels more like the first Life is Strange, where the story just progressed so naturally instead of being like things being forced upon you.
Is it Don't Nod, or is it a new developer with people from Don't Nod?
It's Don't Nod.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And, yeah, I'm loving it. If you like this style of game or the other games in this that Don't Nod made, I recommend this. I'm having so much fun with it.
All right, again, that is Twin Mirror, and you're playing on Xbox right now. Sounds interesting to me. Got one more game I want to review with you guys. I sat down with Alyssa, who played a game called Werewolf Apocalypse Heart of the Forest. She really liked this game and wants to share her thoughts, so I'm going to play that for you right now. Well, hello there, Alyssa. How are you doing today?
Hi, Scott. I am doing well now that my internet is back.
Yeah, we've been struggling to try to touch base for this review because you've been having internet issues, but I'm glad we're finally able to connect because I'm very intrigued by this game that you've been reviewing for us. It's called Werewolf the Apocalypse Heart of the Forest.
Yes.
This one comes from developer Different Tales and was provided to us by Walkabout Games. So I want to make sure we give them a shout out. So talk to me about this. You were kind of our visual novel expert, and this one looks very much in that vein. What is it about?
It is very much in that vein. I don't know how I got in this position, but I love it. But it is a visual novel, and I know there's another game coming out under the Werewolf title. But
Werewolf the Apocalypse Earthblood, I believe, is the one coming next month.
Yeah, but Heart of the Forest is a visual novel, and you play as I think she's 24 years old, a woman named Maya Borodich, and she's going to Poland to research her family history and find out what happened to her family. And it does deal heavily with werewolves. It's just really interesting. It also deals with the logging and biologia? I do not know how to say it, so if I butchered it, I'm sorry. But it is based around a very real case. And you, as Maya, have to decide if you're going to be angry about it, if you're going to be more compassionate or more logical. I really like that aspect of it. I do wish
so it's based on real events.
Yes, real events.
Okay.
And I really like how they utilize choice in the game, because it really does matter what you choose and how you react to things. It really changes your story. I just wish there had been more werewolf stuff.
More werewolf stuff. There wasn't enough werewolf stuff?
It just came in at the end of the game for me.
Uh-huh.
I wish it had been there sprinkled more throughout the whole story, instead of just coming all in at the end.
Does it feel like maybe a precursor to the next game? Like it's kind of setting up that story, kind of like, I don't know, Kingsglaive did for Final Fantasy 15?
I feel like it is. I feel like if you play Heart of the Forest, you'll be more prepared if you play Earthblood.
Oh, okay.
So
now I'm going to have to play it.
Yeah.
How long of a game is it?
It's only about 3 hours, 4 hours.
Not
bad. Visual novel, but then you can play multiple times to get different endings. So.
Now, one of the things that I noticed when I was looking through this game is the art style. Because some of the screenshots that I even put in your review, which is available now on thegamingoutsider.com, it's just a very cool-looking art style. Very striking, bold colors. I think the word you used in your review that stood out to me was you were transfixed. Can you explain why you felt that way?
They were very beautiful and very bold. Some images were very disturbing. I do have to give that warning. Because especially during my end credit sequence, I don't know if this is the same for everybody, but the last image was so haunting, and I'm like, I don't want to see this, but I can't look away.
Yeah.
So some of it is tough to look at, but it's so beautiful. It looks like almost like a comic book, but it's gorgeous, but in a really macabre way.
Interesting. So do you recommend this one for our listeners to check out?
If you love visual novels and you want to dive more into werewolf kind of games, even though there's not enough werewolf in my opinion, definitely check this one out.
All right. I really appreciate you taking the time to check it out, because I'm going to be checking out Earthblood. And if it feels like a setup for that, I may have to check it out beforehand. You played it on Switch, correct?
I did, yes.
But I believe it's also available on PC.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like I think it's like $15. So it could be worth your time if you love it. But again, it's a visual novel. This is not to be confused with the upcoming action game that some people might be thinking of. But still sounds like something that visual novel fans would really like.
I think they would, yeah. Especially if they're into lycanthropy.
That was a word I had to look up and see what it was. I'm not going to lie. I had no idea what that word was in your review, so it shows how much I know.
Weird stuff, okay?
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Alyssa, thank you so much for taking the time to, first off, review the game, as well as write a review, and then come talk to me about it. Really, it's always great to talk to you.
Well, thank you for providing me with a review code. I love reviewing for the Gaming Outsider, so...
Awesome. Well, we'll catch you later, and you have a wonderful week, okay?
You too, Scott.
All right, bye.
Bye.
All right, thank you very much, Alyssa. Before we head on to our topic of the week, I want to say hello to some new members over at Facebook. If you'd like to join that community, please head over to facebook.com/groups/thegocast. Say hello to Frank Flores, Mark George, Joshua Searles, and Steve Peterson. I believe that's a welcome back. I believe he was in the group in the past. Also, we have a Discord community. Mentioned that already. The link is in the show notes. Really good community over there. And I would also ask if you could drop us a review on Apple Podcasts. It'd help us get the word out about the podcast. And then lastly, our website, once again, is thegamingoutsider.com, where you can find all of our episodes, all of our written content, including the above-mentioned review from Sean Coates on Cyberpunk 2077, and Alyssa's written review for Werewolf, the Apocalypse Heart of the Forest, which you just heard her spoken review. If you'd like to read about that, be sure to do that as well. Let's now jump into our From the Outside In topic. So, as we talked about in the news, we learned this week that more developers are being allowed to make games in the Star Wars universe. Although Disney is still keeping that relationship strong with EA, they're branching out for other opportunities. So we thought we'd take a deep dive into what we'd actually like to see and from which developers. Call it a Star Wars wish list, if you will. So before we get into our wants and desires there, guys, what is it about the Star Wars universe that translates so well to video games for you guys?
For me, the Star Wars universe, it's mostly because it's such a vast universe that we still don't know a ton about, because there's constantly lore being added. There's so many different pathways that you can take through the universe.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much any genre. There's even racing games based on Star Wars.
Yeah, and the great thing is, as new types of genres come out, it's not that hard to fold it into the Star Wars universe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
so
CB is totally right on the money. Star Wars can be anything. You know, and the movie, and the lore has also been around since 1977, right? So it's older than most properties too. So it's had a chance to be more broadened. I also think part of what helps it was just George Lucas believing in video games.
Yes,
that's a good point.
I will agree.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the dude put his heart and soul in like everything he had into it, and built such a wonderful universe. I know Zack is fairly fluent in lore as well, but I didn't realize that there's actually a huge chunk of the Star Wars galaxy that is still not even explored at all.
Right, the unknown sectors.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, like, they
That's
could just
where,
be branching
Thrawn
into
comes
that.
from. The unknown
Yes.
regions.
Or like the deep core.
Yeah.
Like the fact that that's barely been scratched at all. It blows my mind. I actually downloaded a map of the entire universe and just the planets that we know of.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this is so bizarre, because you think it's such a huge universe, and it's bigger than you think it is, because there's so much that hasn't even been touched yet.
So the possibilities are endless, is what you're saying.
Yes.
I just know for me, growing up with Star Wars as I did, there was not a film franchise that I wanted to play as that character in a video game more than Star Wars. I wanted to be Luke Skywalker. I wanted to be Han Solo. Hell, I even wanted to be Chewbacca. You know what I mean? And we were, limited to 8 and 16-bit games when I was when I was at the age when I was watching these movies, and they were fun. And it's just been so awesome seeing those games evolve into what they are today and what they're evolving into even now. Because, like you said, the possibilities, there's you can go anywhere with this stuff, and you can make any kind of video game. They even make puzzle games based on Star Wars, for God's sakes. There's got to be cell phone games out there there must be like a match 3 Star Wars game out there, right?
You would be surprised that there is not.
Really?
There is not. Disney puts all the Marvel branding all over that stuff.
Oh, okay.
I think the only Star Wars mobile game running right now is Galaxy of Heroes.
Seems like an untapped market.
I'm sure they have had them.
Well,
Actually, I don't know, because, again, they're so dedicated to the canon for Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, there's Star Wars Pinball.
That's true. There you go. There's an exception.
Speaking of voice actors, the voice actors that they do for the Star Wars Pinball games are not bad. I mean, they're obviously not Han Solo or Harrison Ford or James Earl Jones, but they're close enough.
That's okay. James Earl Jones doesn't sound like James Earl Jones either anymore.
That's true. Don't choke on your aspirations.
Yeah. Great line.
I hated that.
What a
Well,
woman.
All right.
Well, I was going to say, the fact that Star Wars is such a cultural thing that you have actors actively like fighting to get into the Star Wars universe.
Right. In fact, I always tell people when they're like, "Yeah, I'm a Star Wars fan." It's like, you didn't have to say that. I assumed because you were breathing and an American that you like Star Wars. It's
You'd
pretty
be surprised.
fair, I suppose. But even people who quote don't like Star Wars, unquote, like watch The Mandalorian for Baby Yoda or what have you.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty universally known.
If you remember, I think it was about 5 years ago, I sat down and made Chris Owens watch all 6 of the Star Wars movies in order, because he had never seen one of them.
In episode order?
In episode order. Started in with
Nice.
one
Yeah,
and finished
I like that.
with Return of the Jedi. As his first, and that was before Force Awakens and all that was out. It was just those 6 at the time.
Did he like them?
He liked the prequels better.
That's a shame.
That's funny.
He thought, I mean, it's it's a more modern movie. And
They're also like, when somebody's an adult, if you haven't seen Star Wars yet, you still somehow know every single plot point through cultural osmosis.
right.
But I don't think that happens. People don't as often talk about every plot point of the prequels.
That's true.
True.
So it's probably more exciting to watch because you don't know what you're expecting.
And I also didn't notice that the pacing in A New Hope was much slower than I remembered it, just because I was a kid and I had nothing but time. But that movie does take its time. I think it's a good thing. But
Right,
it was never,
It's got a lot to introduce.
right. And like you said, 77. There was a lot of new concepts to get through for that audience. So.
Well, I mean, it's so recognizable because you can show somebody a picture of a lightsaber and they're like, "That's a lightsaber," and you could show somebody else like a picture of the Infinity Gauntlet, and there are surprisingly are people that are like, "What is that?" But they will know what a lightsaber is.
Right. I mean, yeah. To your point, like everybody can name the crew of the Millennium Falcon, but not everybody can tell you what the Flash's real name is. Star Wars is just everywhere.
I don't know the Flash's real name.
See what I mean?
Well, which Flash?
Well, it was you get 6. You could take 6 guesses. Yeah.
All right. So, what would you like to see happen in the world of video games when it comes to Star Wars? Now that things are opening up, the reins are getting loosened, you can have any dream game that you wanted. You have the power to tell any studio to make any Star Wars video game they can come up with. What are your big ideas? Zach, we got to start with you because, number one, this topic was your idea. And number 2, you got to have the best ideas.
Well, that's okay. I don't think that's true because my very first idea was you take Naughty Dog, who's done making stuff, that you get Amy Hennig back, and you let her make her frickin' Star Wars game.
Yeah.
That's the dream of dreams for me.
Didn't we have somebody comment on that very thing? I thought 1313 was Amy Hennig's.
It was called Star Wars Ragtag, and it was supposed to be a Star Wars heist game.
Which sounds great.
You play a gang of Ocean's 11 style a ragtag group, and you were pulling off some kind of heists off against the Empire. Sounds awesome.
That sounds incredible.
Yeah, I'd be down for that.
So it's so let Naughty Dog, who's got nothing going on right now, get Amy Hennig, who should have never been made to leave in the first place, and you put that freaking game together.
I still want to know the story behind all that.
I cannot wait for the book.
Yeah, right?
You're going to get a book about it in like 30 years, and it's going to be remarkable. But then Tay Zaphikul wrote in with an Academy-styled Star Wars Jedi Academy styled as for Fallen Order would be amazing. I thought Academy had some great saber combat for its time. Mesh that with Fallen Order, and I'm sold. I will say I played Jedi Academy through again last year, and saber combat has not aged super well, but it was pretty cool for the time. But I bring this comment up only just because one of these games has to bring Kyle Katarn back.
Was that the character for that?
He was the main character of Dark Forces and in the Jedi Outcast games, and that's where the Dark Troopers were originally from, was Star Wars Dark Forces. So now that you have some Dark Forces stuff brought back into canon, you may as well get Kyle frickin' Katarn. You can't make him canon in anything but a video game, or else people will riot.
That's a good point.
I will agree.
Because he was a video game character created back in Legends and then brought into the books and was a member of Luke Skywalker's Jedi Council. That was super cool. He's basically Han Solo with a lightsaber, by the way, if anyone doesn't know. But I would really enjoy a horror game set in the Star Wars universe. Perhaps from Bloober Team, the Blair Witch guys.
All right, I'm listening.
Because there's this old Star Wars Legends book called Death Troopers, and you can imagine a little bit like almost like Alien, but with a cast of stormtroopers.
Deal.
Who are just getting killed off one by this alien menace. And I think you could do a Star Wars horror game so well. because what I want right now is just weird ideas again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you said earlier, Scott. They used to do Star Wars racing games. So like,
Right.
let's get weird with the license again a little bit. Let's go. Let's play with some unsafe bets.
So like a Star Wars Just Dance game? Is that what you're saying you want?
We had that already.
As long as they sing, I'm just Han Solo, Han Solo.
Oh God, the last time I played that was with Nate.
I've never played it. I just remember watching some YouTube videos and being like, "This is a real thing." Like
It's not the worst thing.
That's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I look at some of the other things that have not gotten the green light for Star Wars games, and that got the green light.
Connect Star Wars, baby. And I think Blue Point doing a shot-for-shot remake of KOTOR would be great.
That was on my list, although I didn't say Blue Point, because KOTOR is a game I've always wanted to play, and I've tried to play, but I hate playing it. I want to experience that story. I just don't like. I'm not a BioWare guy, but I want to experience that story, even though I've had the ending ruined for me.
The build-up is so worth it. But I just bring up Blue Point because they're the kings of the remakes right now, and I think they would clean it up and make it very playable. Again, I know they are probably not going to do this in the current era because, again, they're so precious with canon. But I don't think it would bother anybody if you slap the big Legends banner on the front of the box and just make it non-canon. I don't think that will stop anybody from playing the game.
Is that a thing? Like, there's a Legends icon that you just put on there that means this is not real Star Wars canon?
All the pre-Disney acquisition books, comics, video, well, not video games because they don't reprint video games, but novels, comics, and all that stuff. They all have this giant, kind of ugly banner across the front cover that says Legends, so that way you know it doesn't count. But do that to KOTOR, a KOTOR remake.
Why is KOTOR not canon if isn't it like tens of thousands of years prior?
Right.
Well, it's also pre-Disney.
But everything pre-Disney is no longer canon. Is how it works. So they're not going to. So if they ever do something in the Old Republic, it'll be their take on it. And I don't want you to do a new KOTOR because of the Revan problem. There's no way you can do that character again without making everybody mad. I would never touch that character if I were them. I would just say that he existed and leave it at that. And so, but what I do think would be cool is I was talking to a Twitter buddy at the Carlos Fontes about a great game idea, Knights of the High Republic, which is a new Disney era book series they're doing. It's 200 years before the Phantom Menace, but do the same kind of Jedi RPG, but set during that era, because you could still have BioWare make it and call the memory all the nostalgia associated with it, and you avoid the Revan problem. So I do think a Star Wars RPG would make sense, and you set one during the height of the the Jedi Order, where they were everywhere being the peacekeepers, as Obi-Wan referred to them. I think that would be pretty sick.
Mm-hmm. Because really the only time we got like a bunch of Jedis was, in Clones and Attack of the Clones and I can't remember the Revenge of the Sith. Is that it?
Right. But even that wasn't the height of the Jedi. That was when they were dogmatic in their views and they were becoming generals, which was not the Jedi way at all, and stuff like that. So it'd be nice to, when the Order was performing as Obi-Wan remembers it, would be pretty great.
I'm down.
Yes. Oh man, I have some ideas, but I want to just get my two comments out of the way first.
All right.
Aaron Hughes said he would. Who could forget 1313? I'd still love to see that. I think we all would.
Yeah.
Well, we still don't really know what it was. It just looked cool.
It doesn't matter.
It was a Boba Fett shooter.
Yeah.
Was it Boba Fett?
It was confirmed. Yeah, it was confirmed to be Boba Fett. Some developers have leaked assets of Boba Fett. He looked pretty awesome. I'll send you a picture of it.
In the bowels of Coruscant.
Yes, it was young Boba, like on a revenge quest in the bowels of Coruscant.
Why did that not sell? Why?
The only reason it was canceled is because of the Disney acquisition.
Yeah,
they canceled all Star Wars projects when they took over.
It's so bizarre. But that would have made so much money.
What?
who knows?
If you
it
read,
could be.
I'm sorry, but if you read, Jason Schreier wrote that book, I can't remember the name of the
Blood,
book now.
Sweat, and Pixels.
Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, correct. There's a chapter on 1313, and they say it was like 85% done.
It's
when they
sitting
got
somewhere.
That game is playable somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with things that are in the works right now, I'm willing to bet that could eventually see the light of day.
Yes, I agree.
What is the significance of the number 1313? Is there something that I don't understand why that number is special?
No,
You're
it's just kind of
deeper
like
into
it's just where like if you were to make a Godfather style show about Star Wars, it would be on level 1313 because that's like where the Don lives in layman's terms.
Oh.
On the
where,
bowels of Coruscant.
The Coruscant cartel they're based on 1313.
Oh,
basically.
Okay. Did not know that.
So, then the other comment I have, which really kind of got my brain going, Ethan Langford, a game about a Jedi that has a dark split personality that sometimes takes control and uses the dark side. While we follow the Jedi as he handles the fact that the other half is trying to help, just not in the way he would like. I know it's kind of cliche on a certain level, but I'm curious how mental health in this more unusual stance would manifest in a Jedi, not to mention coming to terms that he has, in a sense, used the dark side.
Boy, that's interesting because like games like KOTOR where you actually choose to go light side or dark side, this one would put you right smack in the middle all the time. Is interesting.
Yeah,
it is actually interesting, but I don't. As we know the Force currently, like that is not how the Force works. But we've also never had somebody with a split personality in any of the, canon or legends. So that would be interesting. Actually,
I read that and immediately I was like, that would be amazing.
Like Two-Face has its lightsaber.
Yeah,
I don't know. That is a cool idea. I would be into that.
Props, Ethan, because that's way better than what I thought of.
Oh yeah, mine are all remakes.
Well, I have one remake and one brand new property.
All right, hit me with your best shot.
Well, remake is an easy one for me. I want Dark Forces to be remade, but by Remedy.
All right. Well, you're stealing one of my developers that I wanted, but yeah.
Just because I loved Dark Forces playing it on PS1. I still love that game, but with how Control looked, it reminded me a lot of some of the areas in Dark Forces.
All right.
Just that dark feel, and I'm like, God, I think they would just be able to make something amazing.
See, I want to remake a Dark Forces because I never played Dark Forces, and I feel like going back to those games, PlayStation 1 games and those early PC games don't hold up as well as
the first Dark Forces has aged well. It's just Doom.
Has it?
It's Doom, except you can aim up and down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's really good. But as far as the second one, I came up with something really, really bizarre because it's what I like to play. I want a world building game similar to
like a SimCity style game.
No, more in the thread of like the Assassin's Creed, like build your base out.
Okay.
I want that. It has to be 3D. So I mean, you can kind of traverse around a planet, but you have the option of starting on different planets.
Mm-hmm.
I want it to be made by Avalanche.
Remind me, what is Avalanche?
Just Cause Avalanche?
Just Cause, but they also made Mad Max.
Yeah, they did.
Oh,
true.
Okay.
And I love the world building they did for Mad Max. I think it would be really, really fun. But I just want to be able to grow your own settlement, but it has to be like in the Outer Rim or the unknown territories. And so you have to like occasionally either deal with the Empire or the rebellion.
Plus, it would be kind of cool to watch the wars from a distance, where you're affected economically, but not necessarily, on the in the trenches, as it were. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you could see battles taking place above your planet or something like that, or you could see Alderaan being exploded. You know what I mean? Like, and you could have political and economical impacts of that. Like you've got things in place with these planets that have been destroyed by the Death Star.
Yeah, well, especially like you were saying, like there's a battle that goes on above your planet. Let's say on the one side of the world, a star destroyer crashes down, or one of the corvettes. So you have to like go and you can
scavenge,
loot stuff out of it.
Well, yeah, just like Rey did on Jakku. That was like how she scraped by.
Yeah, I think that would be a really fun game because you're not directly impacting what's going on in the world.
Mm-hmm.
More of someone that's watching things happen.
That'd be cool,
right.
Yeah. You talking has just made me think of another game idea, if I'm allowed, real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Imagine an RTS set in the unknown regions where you play as a young Thrawn on his up-and-coming adventures.
That would also be very fun.
Developed by Creative Assembly, of course, because they make RTSs. But I think that would be pretty baller. Because I think an RTS would go a long way right now. I loved Galactic Battlegrounds and Empire at War. Those games were incredible.
Yeah.
Give me the Thrawn game.
All right, I got a comment from CJ Moore. He says, I know you said think big, but I would love to play Jedi Academy in the style of Jedi Fallen Order. Tie it into recent Star Wars properties with some Mando spoilers, and which we will not say here. We will not say Mando spoilers here. And some The Last Jedi spoilers, and that game could be so relevant. And the story is super interesting. I'd love to see it modernized. It should even work well if they decide to rehash Dark Forces, which they should, considering Kyle Katarn is one of the first people you meet in Academy. And I know you guys have said some of this already, but CJ's points echoed things that I wanted, which I'm not clever enough to come up with something new like you guys are. I just want remakes of games that I either loved or never got to play because there are so many Star Wars games out there. So the first one, I already said KOTOR. I want that done by Respawn because I want to play that combat in KOTOR instead of whatever the hell it was in KOTOR. That combat just never made any sense to me. Maybe it's because I was young and dumb.
It was just turn based.
It didn't feel turn based, man. It was like always moving.
Yeah, it was just, but that was just a presentation. But behind you could set it in the menu to just be turn based.
Oh, okay. Maybe I should have done that. I'm
not trying to poo-poo you. I'm just saying.
No. I've always been frustrated that I never got into KOTOR because everything about it seems like a game that is made for me. And every time I tried to play it, I just got bored. And I feel that way with any time I play Mass Effect. Granted, again, I still haven't played Mass Effect 2, but I walked around, did everything I could in that first city, and talked to every character, and the gunplay just never felt fun. And then the Mako got incorporated. I need to play a newer BioWare game. I really just need to sit down and play Mass Effect 2. But anyway, also Shadows of the Empire. I want a remake of Shadows of the Empire done by Machine Games. I know you already said Machine Games.
No,
but
I don't think we did we?
I thought you did. You said
no. Machine Games is making the Indiana Jones game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's where we go. I want Shadow, because I think that was one we did on the Retro Outsider episode, and I was shocked at how well that game still stood up for being a 64 game. That is a game that I read the book. I bought the soundtrack for the book. They made a soundtrack for a book, yes, believe it or not.
I went to a symphony presentation.
It was so good. And what was his name? Dash Rendar, I think.
Dash Rendar. Yeah, Dash Rendar deserves canon.
Seriously, and his ship, I can't remember the name of his ship. It was pretty freaking cool, man. It was like a mini Millennium Falcon.
The Outrider?
Outrider.
Yes,
it was the Outrider.
Yes.
I thought that ship was so freaking badass looking, and I never understood why that. I don't know why that book like grabbed everybody, but I just love the book. I love the game.
I think the multimedia push helped. Right?
Yes.
They were not just putting out a book; they were putting out a book, a comic, a video game, a soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
And it's even more sad that that's now just Legends.
Right.
But I want that made by the people that made Wolfenstein. Didn't that game have like heat-seeking missiles that you could guide? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I mean, I know
missiles.
they did that in like Unreal and stuff like that, but in a single-player game, that was the first time I remember doing that in a single-player game.
Well, I mean, you had that awesome train level that led to your junkyard fight with IG-88. It's a pretty awesome game.
Mm-hmm. Remake that game, please. Also, I know this is not a brand new idea, and everybody's tired of the original trilogy, but I loved playing like Super Star Wars and Super Empire Strikes Back and Super Return of the Jedi back in the day. I love playing through the original trilogy games, and we have not had anything outside of a trench run in modern console stuff in forever. I want to play through the trilogy. Well, we've had the Lego games.
I was going to say,
Okay.
Lego, the Skywalker Saga sounds like what you're looking for.
Yeah, maybe that's what I need, but I don't want it cutesied. I mean, I'm going to play that game anyway, don't get me wrong, but I want a legit third-person game that goes through and plays and goes through and tells those stories as if it were the first time I were playing them. Let me be Luke and start with a blaster and eventually get a lightsaber from Obi-Wan and go through everything. If I can't have that, I want you to take the original trilogy and I want you to make it by Quantic Dreams or Telltale and actually let me make decisions in those games that are drastically different than what actually took place in the movies. So
I'm with you on replaying the original trilogy.
You are, okay.
Yeah,
Even if it's
especially with replaying that Batman Begins game, I was like, oh yeah, I miss these. I miss when like you got to feel like you were in the movie. You know, fleshed out. They weren't always great, of course, but it was a experience that you just can't have anymore. They just don't make them anymore.
Yeah, they just don't even. I mean, because and a lot of it is our fault because we've crapped on licensed games for so long, and people just stopped buying them because they were terrible games. You know, but we're getting quality ones now. You know, we got Respawn doing Fallen Order. We've got other developers that are hopping on board here and allowed to make these games. Make a good original trilogy game. Like you put it all in one game. Hell, sell me all three of them.
The fun thing is, you could actually branch out too with those. Like even if you're playing Luke, you could hop in his T-16 and do Beggar's Canyon runs.
Right.
You could go to Tashi Station finally. And pick up those darn power converters.
It's just funny. All of these things are in Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga, but I get what you're saying. I want it to not be bricks.
Right.
I get you. It's just funny that the game we're talking about is going to exist shortly. Just not in the way we want.
Right. And I will definitely play that. Don't get me wrong. I just want a realistic one. I want, that would be a fun thing to introduce to kids too.
Yeah. No, just like to CB's T-16 sky hopping Tashi Station thing, like that's exactly the kind of stuff you're going to find in a Lego game.
Mm-hmm.
I know. How funny is it going to be when Ubisoft's like game actually comes out and it's exactly that? It's the Skywalker Saga, but Ubisoft.
No, there's not enough towers in the trilogies.
I think they're branching away from the towers. I think
we'll see.
Maybe, I don't know. Far Cry 6 is still a ways out.
Yeah.
Anyway, so back to my second point is I either want the original trilogy game or I want it in a game where you're making decisions and you basically get to retell the story of the original trilogy by making different decisions, different branching decisions that just drastically alter the story. I know it would never happen because of how tightly they hold that canon leash now, but how fun would it be to, I don't know, cripple Yoda on Dagobah?
Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, if you made a Telltale game like that, it's going to wind up the same way every time. Everybody's going to make Luke go dark side.
But make that a really difficult thing to do. Like there's only one specific permutation that will allow that to happen, and that was what everybody is trying to do. You know what I mean?
But the problem is in the story, it's going to happen at the same point. Like, right at Empire. I am your father. Join me. Okay.
No, but don't make it obvious. You can set players down a path that there's only one way to make that thing happen that everybody wants to happen, and you have to do this and this and this and this, and it won't happen until maybe the end of Empire or something.
I will agree. I would love to see. I love alternate versions.
Yeah,
like that. That's one of the reasons I loved Force Unleashed, the Sith edition, where you had those extra missions where it's like you could change Star Wars history.
Or how about like an alternate universe, like a parallel universe where it's Prince Luke, and you've got Leia Skywalker that's being raised by Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen. You know, make Leia the Luke. That would be interesting. Just like role reverse everybody. Make Chewie is the dashing blaster wielding guy, and Han Solo is his lackey.
In your Telltale style Star Wars game, can you make Luke and Leia go all the way?
I probably wouldn't fly, but I would if it were up to me. Yes. Then we got a full Game of Thrones action going on.
Yeah, you push Han out of a tower.
I'd do anything for love.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was fun. We got some really cool. You guys and our listeners came up with stuff I never even considered. I'm really excited, and the more I talk about it, the more I want. Even though it's not exactly what I want to play that Lego Star Wars Saga game.
Yeah, man. I think we're all gonna dig it.
I think so too. Is there any multiplayer component of that? Like, can we all hang out in the same world together, or is it?
No, I mean,
oh dear,
I think it's
God, I want that to happen.
I think it's 2-player co-op, but I don't know if the Lego games are they online co-op?
I don't know. I've only played them like couch co-op.
Yeah, I don't even know.
I should go back and play those again. I did the Force Awakens one. And that was all right. They actually incorporated like first-person shooting in part of that one. Did you ever play that one?
No, I never did.
It was very, very generic, but it was kind of cool seeing like targeting and stuff going on in a Lego game. It was kind of
the Lego games are tricky because whenever they do a one movie one now, I'm just like, well, come on, you don't really do like 7,
right?
Right? Like, I feel like I'll be a little ripped off here.
Speaking of, it's been a while since I watched episode 9. I think it's time to go back.
I just watched part of it earlier today.
Did you?
Great movie.
Specifically, basically the last like 35 minutes from one specific scene onward.
All right. We'll leave us in suspense.
Can't risk spoilers here.
Nope. Well, that was a fun topic. Stay tuned on our socials for next week's topic. We will be looking for your feedback for sure. And hey, if you'd like to give us a voicemail to give us your answer, we may play it on the show for you. That number is area code 347-746-2278, or if you'd like an easier way to remember, 3477-GO-CAST. Again, 3477-GO-CAST. That's going to do it for this episode of The Gaming Outsider. Zach, any parting words before we get out of here?
Yeah, just to keep it on Star Wars in case, I hope nobody hates Star Wars. They're going to really turn this podcast off. But they just started the High Republic Publishing Initiative 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, as I was telling you earlier, is like 200 years before Phantom Menace and stuff. And there's an adult novel out, a kid's novel, and a middle school like a grade reader story. And I read all of them in there. It's really a fun new era of Star Wars. And it's that first book ends in such a way where I legitimately don't know what's going to happen next. And it has been a long time since Star Wars has felt like anything could happen. Like, they're all new Jedis and new characters, right? So anybody can die.
Right.
People can turn to the dark side. I don't know what's going to happen. It gets pretty twisted near the end. I'm very excited. So if you guys have anybody out there interested in the broader Star Wars lore, highly recommend Light of the Jedi is the name of the first novel. It is great.
All right. I'm interested.
All right.
I'm looking for something new to read anyway. That may be next on mine if there's an audiobook version.
I think the audiobook's only like 15 hours too.
Oh, wow. All
Very
right.
consumable.
All right.
It's one of the best books I've read in years. Probably the best book I've read since The Way of Kings.
Oh, wow. That's high praise.
Yeah.
CB, how about you?
2 quick things. Tenet. If anybody's on the fence, watch it. It's good. I really enjoyed it. Yes.
Okay.
I was actually surprised because I actually had to explain a lot of things to my wife about that movie. But
Well, apparently I
I
need to watch it with
thoroughly
people like
enjoyed
you
it.
then, because God, my head hurt so much at the end of that movie.
The other thing is, and I don't know who's watched it. WandaVision, worth the watch.
I am so intrigued after those first 2 episodes. I just don't know where it's going yet.
I want to talk with I want to talk with Zack off air about it. Have you seen it yet, Zack?
Yes.
Okay.
So happy MCU is doing something that comes from originality.
Yes. But I have a feeling there's something coming. So
We're supposed to get answers in episode 3, I heard. So stay tuned for
Did you know
Friday.
that Dick Van Dyke was a consultant on that show?
I did. I just read that today. I was
That's so
that makes
cool.
sense.
yeah,
I especially love that
it's
he
so
didn't,
fun
he
to
didn't know
watch.
what an MCU was. It's quite endearing to me.
Yeah.
They told
Yeah.
him, MCU is a big deal. Endgame's the biggest movie ever. He's like, oh, that's good for you.
Good for you.
Yeah, so funny.
That is crazy. As for me, just want to remind everybody, I do have another podcast called the Packers Fan Podcast. Yes, my Green Bay Packers are going to the NFC Championship game on Sunday, which is a big deal in my world. It's been about 9 years since we've seen the Packers win the Super Bowl. I know that's for some teams it's been a lot longer than that, but
Discount double check.
it's going to be great, especially if the Chiefs go. You know that State Farm is going to be all over those commercials with Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes. But anyway, my podcast we do once a week, and we're towards the end of the season here, so I'd love it if you checked it out. And lastly, I also have a television show to recommend. It was actually recommended to me by our Discord community. I started watching a documentary series on Netflix called Night Stalker, which is based on the Night Stalker murderer from 1985. And the thing I love most about this show is that it is 4 episodes long.
Oh,
And about
man, you sold me.
40 minutes each. I watched 3 of them today. I'm going to watch the 4th one after we're done here. And it's really well done. They draw out some of the stuff a little bit long to try to make it a little bit more dramatic. But holy cow, this dude is messed up. And I cannot wait to see the reveal in the final episode. It's really cool because they're actually interviewing the police detectives that were on the case back in 85 that are all old and retired now. And it's pretty graphic. They actually show the police footage, like not footage, but the pictures, the crime scene photos.
Crime scene photos.
My
And,
boss was telling me about this documentary the other day at work.
Yeah, it's very entertaining, and it's like I just love that it's 4 episodes instead of 10-hour-long episodes like every other one seems to be. And I'm watching this going, you guys could have chopped this down into 5 episodes easily. But
right,
so Night Stalker, it is on Netflix, and have not finished it. Got 1 episode to go, but really, really digging it. Well, guys, thanks so much for being here, and thanks to everybody for listening. The Gaming Outsider is produced by Nate Lucas, and all the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemage and Metroid Metal. His website is stemagemusic.com, STEMAGE music.com. And if you want to have a good time with Grant, be sure to check out our Game of the Year episode where he came and joined us. He is a ton of fun to talk to.
I wish Grant could be on every episode.
I do too. It'd be a lot of fun. He's so much fun to talk to. Also, please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Zach Parkerson and Chris Berensmeyer, and we are The Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.